If you're a life insurance agent struggling to close Facebook final expense leads, then look no further. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down key strategies that you need to be utilizing to put yourself in the best position to succeed. As always, please make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let's hop into the video. YouTube, I'm back on another video. Today, I'm super excited to talk about strategies that can be used for you to leverage Facebook final expense leads, Facebook life insurance leads to really close more deals consistently. So let's hop right into it. There's going to be a few things you're going to learn today. The best time to call leads, an effective opening script, which in my opinion is the most important thing. Common objections that you're going to run into, structuring the conversation for higher conversions, and then specific follow-up strategies to maximize the leads. So let's hop right in. Okay, now, first thing I want to talk about the type of leads. Okay, it's very important before you have success that you understand exactly what is going on. So there are two types of leads. One is what's called instant forms. The other is called a landing page. Let me explain how they differ. So an instant form is probably what 95% of everybody who's telling you how to generate leads on Facebook is. And in my opinion, it's a way to generate leads that's super easy, super duplicatable. I have videos on my page. A lot of other people do. But the real marketers, the people that really get in the trenches and understand how Pixel works, they understand how to really create strong campaigns and strong marketing for not only yourself, but for your team, will be focusing on building through landing pages. And the reason is because you can do what's called train a pixel. There's a lot of other additional things, but I just want you to understand the difference between the two. So an instant form basically means that some of their information will autofill. Meta is getting better with providing some accounts right now actually have phone verification, which is pretty cool. And you will collect their information through the platform. And there's pros and cons to that. So the pro is the cost is relatively cheaper, depending on who you are and how you're strategizing your marketing. And it's easier to set up, very duplicatable, very simple. The con is the amount of work that it takes somebody to do that is less. So the intent relatively is lower, just depending on how you set up your ads, unless you have really strong content on the front end, which some people do. Now, understand if you are working with anybody and you're watching this video and you don't even know what your ad looks like, that's the first red flag. You should understand exactly what your clients are seeing. If you don't know what your clients are seeing, you're working with a company or an individual or an organization or whatever, you're putting yourself behind the eight ball. It doesn't matter if they're using instant form or landing page, you already are kind of at a disservice. Now, landing pages are different because now they're going to see the ad on a platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, doesn't matter. And they're actually going to go to a landing page, which is essentially a place where you take somebody from social media and land them on a dedicated page for whatever the outcome. And for us, we're trying to generate opt-ins, i.e. leads, okay? They differ in terms of intent because now that this person has left the platform, they clicked on their phone or they clicked on their laptop, it actually redirects them to another page. They open it up. The page has to be well laid out, very well designed, and then you capture their information. And unless the person sets up the parameters, there is no autofill. So the intent of the lead, in my opinion, and from our experience, is higher, right? So we put a lot of emphasis into landing page over instant form, but there are different scenarios. I would say for final expense, you could go either way. If you're working with a company, it can go either way. Final expense is a unique niche, just to be honest, where the landing pages you can see more drastic ROIs, but not necessarily for final expense because that target demographic, the expectations, the people that you're dealing with, the cost to get those leads versus how many leads you need to actually close, in my opinion, isn't necessarily worth it all like that. So I would say if you're a final expense agent, you would be all right sticking with instant forms. That's just my professional advice. The next thing is speed to lead. So essentially what I mean by that is calling the lead within 5 to 15 minutes of them submitting. So you should have notifications set up that come in when the lead gets filled out, whether that's through Zapier, Make, there's tons of different platforms that you can use. They'll send a text message or send an email or ping you on Discord or Slack or Telegram or whatever platform that you're using. Super important that once that lead comes in, you do give them a call, you shoot them a text, or you have an automated system that does that to immediately start following up with them. These are just small nuances before we even get into strategies. And the third thing, and the most important thing, is the mindset shift. I think a lot of people come into working fresh leads, real-time leads, social media leads, and they just assume that because it's fresh, the people are supposed to pick up the phone and be ready to buy the moment that you get the lead. And that is the absolute furthest thing from the truth. They are raising their hand to say, hey, I'm interested in what you have to offer. Because I'm interested, that makes me a potential candidate. Now, I may not be ready to buy right now, but I am interested. The funny thing is, a lot of times you kind of it's a 50-50. The person's either going to basically not pick up or not be interested when the lead first comes in, or they're going to pick up, know exactly what it is, and you'll close them. The interesting thing is you could be calling that person for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then eventually the person just picks up like nothing happened, and they're like, yeah, I know exactly what that is. And you sign them up. So it's very important for you to have good follow-up. It's important for you to understand the mindset, and that instead of you focusing on, I have to close this person, I have to close this person, just saying, being very relaxed and saying, hey, you did fill this out. I also find that agents tend to call these leads that are, fresh Facebook final expense leads, and they treat them like they're aged or like they're, trying to be manipulative, or they're working from just the data list of leads that were like $1. You don't need to do that, right? You need to be relaxed. You need to be more chill. You can call them from your cell phone even, not always recommend it, but you can call them from your cell phone and have a more casual conversation. Hey, John, I'm just giving you a quick call back. You actually filled out this request on Facebook. It looks like you were looking for final expense and life insurance programs here in Texas. You listed Jane Doe as your beneficiary. Does that ring a bell? Do you remember that? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I do. Cool. Just be yourself, right? You don't need to be robotic. You do not need to feel salesy, or they're going to get that sense and you're not going to close the deal. And a lot of people approach these leads with almost too much aggression. Take a step back and be a little bit more relaxed. Now, let's talk about for dialing leads, right? So calling times. I say between 8 and 11 and 5 and 8 are the best and most optimal times. Saturdays also work really well. Now let's talk about this. Understand that to get a jump on the competition, by competition, I just mean the other people that may have filled a form out or they may be in contact with. I'm calling at 7:30 local time to the lead. So if the person lives in, Pennsylvania and their Eastern Standard Time, I'm calling them at 7:30 Eastern if I got to wake up at 6:30, because I know that if they have to start work at 8, some people start at, they say it's 9 to 5, but some people start work at 8. So if you call the people who start work at 8, they're never going to pick up. And then you're going to say, well, this person's not interested. No, you're just not calling them at the right time. So call them at 7:30. A lot of people are like, well, that's a little too early. Okay, you might have one or two people that say that's early, but are you going to be mad if they say no? Because in my opinion, I'm calling these leads. Always tell agents, you're calling leads to disposition them. Don't shift your mindset from I'm trying to call and sell them to, hey, all I need to do is figure out what is this person's situation. Are they still interested? If they are, I'm going to present to them the options. It's always a numbers game, right? It always will be. It always has been. It's called the law of averages for a reason. So you're able to get a 30-minute jump. It makes all the difference. My time as a life insurance agent, I started at 7:30 every single time. And I was able to book probably 2 to 4 appointments between 7:30 and about 9 o'clock every single time, just to start my day. So I already had, a large portion of my appointments booked. And then for the rest of the day, I would be able to get, my other 10 or 12 appointments that I needed. Now, the next best time is going to be from 5 to 8. Understand this, callbacks are really important. So a lot of people, when they call leads, and we'll talk about the script here, when it comes to booking the appointment, their thought process is, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I need to book this person. I need to book this person right now. And if the person gives them any sort of inkling, yeah, call me back at 5, they think that's a booked appointment. And rather than thinking that's a booked appointment, only time you should clarify something as a booked appointment is if you get them to grab their pen and paper, write it down, you send them a confirmation. When you start shifting your mind like that and you set goals for yourself that are more process oriented rather than, oh, I have to book, or not, I have to close all these people, rather than saying, hey, I need to get off XYZ presentations today if I'm doing one call closes. I need to book 5 solid appointments, not these pseudo appointments. Oh, call me back at 5. That's not an appointment. That's just letting you know, when they're available, which then for me, what I would say in that situation is call me back at 5 o'clock. Okay. Is that when you get off work? What's typically going on at 5 o'clock? Oh, yeah. Okay. So you say that you get off work at 5. What time are you typically walking in the door? 6 o'clock. Okay, perfect. Is there any reason why if I called you between 6 and 7:15, like you wouldn't be available? Yeah. Okay, cool. This is if they're trying to get off the phone, right? And these are little small effective strategies that I think people may not always think about. That's very useful when it comes to dialing leads, and specifically fresh leads. Now, older leads, you have a different mindset. You're typically a lot more aggressive. If you're overly aggressive with these fresher leads, they'll just say, hey, get lost. So you need to understand how to be savvy whenever you're, communicating with them. Now, triple dial strategy is always my favorite. You can wait 5 minutes. I put that on here because I know some people think I'm a little overkill. I'm calling, letting it ring for 2 rings, hanging up, letting it ring for 2 rings, hanging up, and letting it ring all the way through, right? And that's considered one dial. And I'm doing that 3 to 4 times a day on every single lead. That's my process. That's what I did. Now, when the person, you can also text them if they're not available. Hey, John, this is Trey following up about your request from Facebook for the life insurance. I'll give you a call back shortly, or let me know whenever you're available. You can always finish it up with a question, etc. Voicemails are useful. I gave a lot of different strategies because I know there's tons of different agents watching this. Some are more aggressive, some are less. If you're going to do a voicemail, I recommend you only do a voicemail after about 2 or 3 days of trying to call them. The moment you leave a voicemail for somebody, you give them the ammunition to block you, to potentially, oh, I don't want to, whatever it is. And that you don't want to put yourself in that position. So don't just come out the gate saying, hey, I'm going to leave a voicemail. Absolutely not. I would wait, 2 to 3 days. That's my professional advice. Now, as far as the script, there's a few different ways you can go about it, right? So, hey, John, this is Trey. I'm just giving you a call back about the request you filled out for life insurance. Looks like you listed Jane Doe as your beneficiary. Does that sound familiar? Now, here's the thing. I always would put Facebook, right? Getting about the request you fill out on Facebook. Now, reason why is if I just say life insurance and I keep it very general, and I did this because I want you all to see the difference. If I just say life insurance and do not say, right, Facebook, think about the person who there is lack of clarity. So when I call the person, I want to paint the most vivid picture. I have all the ammunition because I know the advertisement, whether I generate it or I'm working with somebody who showed me what it looks like. I know exactly what they saw. So if I know what they saw, then I can speak to what they saw, which should help paint the picture for them. Because I say this again, I work with tons of life insurance agents and I call them and they forget what they filled out, right? So because they forget what they filled out, they still want something that they're not doing themselves. So understand that that's just human psychology. If you don't paint the picture for them, hey, I'm the light-skinned guy, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm whatever's on your ad. You put an ad out there, it was a casket, right? A yellow casket. Oh yeah, I do remember that, right? If you just say you filled it out online, and this is what everybody says. So yes, you want to be direct, but you want to be kind of general, not overly direct where your script is very wordy, but you need to also be descriptive enough that they do remember exactly what they filled out. Now, the beneficiary is always my suggestion with all of the ads that you're generating. If you're working with somebody, ask them to get the beneficiary put on. I don't like multiple choice beneficiary. I like open-ended beneficiary because when you get your first and last name, there's power, right? You listed Mary Johnson as your beneficiary here, Paul. Does that ring a bell? Oh, yeah. Come on. What are we saying? I didn't put this in there. If you say, son, favorite hobby, I'm not a fan of any of those, just being honest. It's like, what does that even have to do with people like these keywords? I'm like, okay, I get it. Get what you're trying to do, but just call a spade a spade. You want high intent leads, you got to ask high intent questions. You got to be direct. It's just a part of it, right? Now, here's a unique thing. And I've seen this for some of my agents. That's why I put it in here. So just so I have the right person, right? Looks like you listed your date of birth here as June 8th, 1982. And you were looking for affordable final expense coverage. Is that correct? Now, the reason why I think this works and what the agents that was doing this kind of pitched to me was that when you clarify who the person is, you get the date of birth, you also create more credibility, and then you get back to what you were looking for. Is very, very powerful, okay? Now, I'm going to go over a few quick options, right, that fit your budget. If it makes sense, we're going to get you covered today. Now, I'm bouncing around when I say this. It's not in the exact order because I'm touching on points I don't want to spend 3 hours here going through an entire masterclass. But understand that in the opening, you have to, in some way, shape, or form, let them know at some point, right, that I'm going to be going over some options today that are going to fit your budget. And if it makes sense, we're going to get you covered. We're going to put something in place. We do not want to do this whole, we're just going to apply and see what happens. Like, no, we need to be direct. If you are not direct, you're going to cause problems down the line, or they're going to sign up and then you're going to get a chargeback. And that is a waste of your time. So be very, very direct and deliberate. Okay. So common objections. Now, here's my thought process. I listed the 3 most common ones, and I'm the type of person, I'm just running over objections, right? So I don't remember filling that out. No problem. I see your info here. It looks like you listed Jane Doe. Does that ring a bell? I'm re-saying the same thing I said because I know you filled this out. Like this, there's no question here. Once again, if I put the ad out or my team put the ad out, I know what you saw. So it's because I know what you saw, I have confidence. It just keeps coming back to that. If you don't know what you're seeing, you can have no confidence. And that creates doubt. And then the doubt they can hear, right? I already have life insurance. That's great. Many of our clients do. Quick question. Do you know if it covers for your end of your life or for if it expires? Most people be like, I don't know. Okay, yeah, no worries. That's the reason why I'm giving you a call. I'm actually a specialist here, right? And my job is to go over all your options. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper. It's only take me about 5 minutes, right? You just roll them back into it. You can throw whatever you need to in there, but something that will make them probably say, oh, I don't know. It's a lot of people don't know if it covers for your life or expires. So like, what does that mean? Cool. That's the reason I'm giving you a call to go over your options, blah, blah, blah. And then you just vet it out from there. I'm not interested. Totally understand. Most people who fill this out just want to see what other options are available before making a decision. So let's go ahead and get that knocked out. Grab a pen and paper and let me know when you're ready. I roll through objections. Now, here's the thing. Objections are going to happen. You could set up a landing page. You could ask 50,000 questions. You're still going to get objections. A lot of people get upset about objections. It's okay. They're just like little darts. You just dodge them as they come at you because you know they're going to come, right? You do whatever you can to prepare yourself, but you've already prepared. Bobbing and weaving, you understand that this is a part of the process. And once I understand this is a part of the process, I don't get upset when objections come. I don't get upset when people don't remember what it is because I understand that that is just a part of what's happening here, right? And the more that I can get myself into that mindset, the more confident I am, right? And then the more confident I am, obviously, the more sales I'll make, right? The more families I can protect, the more consistent I can get with my business. Now, as far as it comes to closing the deals, here's my thing. I'm letting them know it looks like whatever your plan is XYZ, being your best fit. Let's get you qualified. My understanding is that I'm telling them that I'm getting them qualified. I'm telling them that we're getting something put in place. The next thing I put in there, we'll set your payment date for today, right? Which bank do you use? Now, here's the thing. People post date. I understand it in some situations. I hate it. Because here's the thing. If I can't draft the premium right now, then you really don't need to be getting it, or it's too much. If you have to wait and you don't know, you got to see what your banking account is looking like. You should know what's in your bank. And if you don't know what's in your bank, I don't even think you should be getting the insurance in the first place, because you're probably not going to keep it. Just being honest, even if you keep it for a month or two, it is a chargeback waiting to happen. Now, me personally, I've had that commission breath. I have been in that position where I just wanted to close somebody. I'm going to be transparent. But being honest with you, that is not the right way to do business. You're doing two things. Number one, you're actually putting the family at risk, even though you can justify like, oh, I'm getting something put in place. If you know that they're not going to keep it, they're just paying money for something to lapse in a few months and for you to be upset about a chargeback. The thing I think you want to realize is when you write solid business, it compounds. So because you actually go out and put a solid plan together for them that will protect their family in the event that something happens, you're going to write more business down the line. You'll get more referrals. They'll feel the fact that you're actually putting them in the right position. Like, hey, John, honestly, the fact that we can't get this taken care of right now and you're not comfortable with the drafting, that tells me, two things. Number one, we need to go ahead and decrease the price because it needs to be something that you're comfortable with, something that you will not, get rid of. This is very important. You've already identified, and you go back and talk about the why. The second thing is that you need to talk about what's stopping you from moving forward today. And those are two completely different conversations. There's one other thing that I did not touch on that is very, very important. And it comes before closing the deal. It comes right after the intro. And it's the why. Now, I know some people try to go into quoting, and I think that's great. I think depending on who you are and what you're looking to do and the lead type, I think that's good. But let's talk about final expense. Final expense is one of the unique products or types of life insurance where your job is to make sure that if they pass, things are taken care of. You're not setting out for their mortgage. You're not setting out for an IUL. You're setting out to say, what are the final expenses associated with you passing? So that could be your mortgage. That could be just cremation. That could be additional supplemental income. There are more things. Understanding that regardless of what lead type you work, your job as a life insurance agent is to provide life insurance for them to actually be money that benefits them when they pass, not to actually just cover up a set thing. Like mortgage protection is not just for your mortgage. It's not. Final expense is not just for your burial or for your cremation or it's to cover whatever this person's life will look like when the end of their life happens for their family. So for the other people that they have in their family. I think the more we start understanding that, it will help you close more deals more consistently because you now are in the frame of mind of saying, I'm actually going to make sure I put them in the right position. Like, John, you're going to ask the right question. So going back to the why, you're going to say, John, like, well, why do you want this? Like, yes, I know you want to take care of it, but like, what happens? Paint the picture for me. Like, you as an agent owe them your duty to make sure you put them in the best possible position. Not only financially, not only, I'm going to get you 10,000. What does that 10,000 do? Establish a game plan. You talk about not having chargebacks. You talk about building a rapport and people keeping the policy and people actually going through without feeling like, oh my goodness, I don't feel comfortable giving you my social, all these other things. Yes, it's because you just came in the house and told them, hey, I'm going to get you 20,000. And we're like, hey, give me your information. Absolutely not. Sit down, have a conversation with them, develop a game plan with them. That's how you build rapport, through proper conversation, through proper expectations. So I hope that this helped. As always, if you guys like, comment, subscribe. I really just, like I said, I hope this video has been fruitful for you, but rewind it, go back, listen, really ask questions, drop comments below if you guys have any. Really, I just want to make sure that we're putting you all in good positions as life insurance agents when you're running these Facebook final expense leads, because a lot of people, have improper expectations. They don't really know what they're getting themselves into. They don't even know what their ads look like. They're like, oh yeah, I'm getting leads from someplace. I'm like, that makes no sense. So make sure you're putting yourself in that proper position. And as always, hope you guys have a great rest of the day and we will talk soon.